Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Out of ammo, out of time. I'm your host, as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in the Investigator games Eldritch Horror edition. Yes, it has been a while since I last played Eldritch Horror. Not because I don't want to play Eldritch Horror, I really like playing Eldritch Horror, but things just got really crazy busy, and then what with the coronavirus lockdown and whatnot, I'm spending a lot more time at home than I was before, and so I'm taking this opportunity to make more videos, which I sincerely hope you're able to watch and take the time during these very challenging times we're all going through, and I hope everybody is well who is watching. So what is the Investigator games? Well, for those of you who haven't seen before any of my videos, it's like the Hunger Games, and in the Eldritch Horror edition we take each Investigator, and there are a ton of them, true solo, through Eldritch Horror up against Azathoth in this season. And we see how they go. Now, it's not really about winning the game, because the chances of winning the game, as I've discovered, when you're playing true solo, is fairly slim. Really, the mythos and Azathoth really does conspire against you. It's very difficult to win when you're just playing solo. I think most people recommend if you're playing solo, you play with at least a couple of investigators, but this is the Investigator games, so it's more about the relative performance of each, and we actually look at them in a league table, a little bit like this one. Now, as you can see at the moment, we have only 3 investigators have managed to get 2 mysteries, which may say something about my gameplay skills. But Charlie Kane, Lily Chen, and William Yorick have all managed to get 2 victory points from mysteries. And then we have a whole bunch who've gotten 1. And then at the bottom, unfortunately, of the table, we have 4 investigators. It's quite equally balanced in that way, with about 3 with 2, and then 4 with Nord, Dexter Drake, Hank Sampson, Harvey Walters, and Silas Marsh. So we can see quite a variation in performance there, and it really is quite challenging for various reasons, and sometimes just the game conspires against the investigator as they try to solve the mysteries. The one that's proven to be particularly problematic is getting hold of the artifact, the Shugay artifact. It's not easy to get artifacts, and so that can really stymie things for investigators. But anyway, enough about all that. So here we are with Joe Diamond, the Private Eye. Now, I've played Joe Diamond quite a lot in Arkham Horror, the card game, and I do like him in that he's got quite an innovative way of playing. So, yes, we can see how he goes here. So, let's just have a look at Joe Diamond's various stats and just what he's about. So, let's bring him up here. So, yes, he is traded as a Private Eye. If we have a look at his stat line, we can see a couple of things. First of all, he's very low on things like law, strength, and will. He's not great on those, but he's very good on observation and influence, more so. So surprisingly, he's not really a fighter in the traditional sense with a high strength. But as we will see, he can compensate for that because he can get, obviously, some really good weaponry, which he can then use to sort of offset his relatively low strength. So the way to win with Joe Diamond is to really get some allies and some weapons on the table. And indeed, his special action, so really kind of plays to that, because he has a high observation and reasonable influence. He can discard an asset from the reserve and replace it with a random asset of from the deck with the chosen trait. So, for example, if you need a weapon or an ally, you can actually get one on there, and then you can seek to get it. Once per round, when you improve a skill, you can also improve one other skill of your choice. There was another investigator that had this kind of thing, so you can also do that as well if you can improve a skill. So the thing is, again, to try and find things in the that allow you to do that as well. So I was hired for a job, evil gods or no, I aim to finish it. Yes, indeed. Quite tenacious. Now we'll ignore the right-hand side, because if he dies, he goes insane. He dies and goes insane. He starts in San Francisco. He starts with a 1.32 Colt pocket asset. We'll look at that in a second. And this is his backstory. The dame who hired Joe was square, and the job seemed easy on the surface. She paid in advance to have Joe find some codger to deliver a crate, but Joe does not walk into situations without knowing the score. This codger was a member of the Silver Twilight Lodge, and that crate had been stolen from the museum in Istanbul. Like a sucker, Joe went to the cops. For his trouble, he got a broken nose and a dead client, and someone stole his cargo. Now Joe is ready for a little payback. There we go. It's a bit... I wasn't going to do my signature noir kind of voice, but that's the way it certainly reads, Humphrey Bogart-like. But anyway, so yes, that's Joe Diamond. Private Eye. So, and he has here his Colt pocket. So obviously it's a weapon. You get to roll an additional die when resolving a combat encounter, so that it'll immediately gives him 3 die, and you can re-roll 1 die when resolving the test as well. So that's not a bad start, but I think we would like to probably upgrade that weapon if we can as well. So there we go. There's Joe Diamond. Now we've already got the cards in terms of the Mythos cards, so we don't need to mess with those, but I'll just go around the houses now, and we will just shuffle these up. We'll shuffle up the assets and put them out here. There we go. Let's have a look at what we got. So we got the 12 Silver Twilight Host, which is a service. When you gain this card, immediately recover 3 health and sanity and gain a boon condition. That is a very, very nice card indeed, particularly playing solo. Lucky Talisman. Once per round, you may reroll all of your dice when resolving a test. Very nice as well. Holy Water. Discard this card to gain 5 will and fight during a combat encounter. Action, discard this card to choose an investigator on your space to gain a blessed condition. And finally, Charter Flight. When you gain this card, immediately move up to 2 spaces and then discard this card. There's some pretty good stuff there. No allies, but some good things nonetheless. So I think we'll be looking at availing ourselves of those. So let's just go around here and just shuffle all these up. Now, Expedition, I'll just press this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are starting in Antarctica? No, the Himalayas. It looks like Antarctica, but it is in fact the Himalayas. I'll just go here and in other worlds. Madness, injury, illness, exposure, boon and bane, deal and restriction, pursuit and talent. Won't worry about these, I'm not using those. Then over here to the research cards, there we go, and then down here to the mystery cards. First mystery, drum roll, is occult research. The Shan are controlling innocent victims everywhere, using them to call forth Azathoth. After an investigator resolves a research encounter, he may spend 1 clue he gained from that encounter and place that clue on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if that clue's on this card equal to 1, solve this mystery. Fantastic. Okay, well that's a pretty easy one. As long as we can get the research encounter done, then that's not too bad at all. All right. So let's move on to these ones. So, okay, so let's spawn a gate. The first gate we spawn is indeed in Buenos Aires. So that's not too far from where we are, I suppose. Could be further, so that's good. Of course, we'll spawn a monster with that. And the monster we get is a riot. Before resolving the strength test, you may attempt to disperse the mob. If you do, defeat this monster. Okay, so there's a riot in Buenos Aires starting. And we'll also get a clue out onto the table. And the clue is at 18, which is... oh, there. Okay, that's a long way from us. So that's a bit of a problem because we need to obviously resolve a encounter. So there we go. Okay, so I think that's everything that we need to do to set up. Okay, so let's start with the... oh, yes, and there goes the horn. The crowd goes wild. It is time to start the Investigator Games Eldritch Horror Edition. And here we are with Joe Diamond. Yes, okay, so first thing we do is we've got 2 actions. And I think the first thing to do is to probably try and get something from the reserve, I imagine. I would have thought that's the best thing to do. So let's just have a look at these again. So there's a Silver Twilight, 3 heal, 3 sanity, and a boon condition. You may reroll all of your dice. The Holy Water, +5 will. That's really good. So, and the Chart of Light. So there's a 1, there's a 2, and a 3. So I tell you what, let's just... without getting into debt, let's just see how we go. So our first action, we've got a 3 influence. So we can go ahead, and there are no monsters on our location. Something I have made a mistake with the past. So we can take 3 of these good old dice here. And we can just move the other... oops. Just move... we'll just move these dice out the way. Here we are. We'll shuffle these up, and hopefully we get a 5 or a 6, and we get 1 5. There we go. So let's take the Chart of Flight. When you gain this card, immediately move up to 2 spaces. So let's gain the card, and immediately move. Do we want to move? This is improve observation, and our observation's already pretty good. So I think we move 2 spaces and we get over to Buenos Aires. Should we do that? Hold on, what am I doing? Before I do that, before I start doing things like that, well, I suppose with the riot, we could... ooh. Wow, that's actually really hard. Oh, yeah, no, this is actually quite difficult. Because you would get that -1... you get an additional dice, so we would have 3 strength, we would lose it. So we're not getting rid of that riot anytime soon. But really what we want to do is get over to here. So we can do that. We can actually move, and then we can just move again, can't we? Yes. So we'll immediately move to Buenos Aires. So we don't have to fight. So there you go. That's our first action. That's really got us quite a way. So we've got 1 action left that we can do. So I think we move again. Ooh. Is this the right place to move? I'm just trying to think. We can move... let me just think about this for a second. So this is allowing us to move up to 2 spaces. So we can go 1, 2... we need to get over here. Is there a quicker way the other way? I don't think so. We could go 1, 2, which would take us to Tokyo, which is that's still quite a way away. Yeah, I might move to here. Because then all we need to do then is next go we could move to this city location and do another, see what else we can get, and then we are literally 1 away. So I think that's probably the thing to do. Okay, so that's the end of our action. So we basically got... oh, and we've forgotten to Let's see what we get in the assets. Oh, what's this? A specialist. Once per round, you may re-roll one die when resolving a test. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gained a talent condition. Okay, that's pretty good. But it's 3, so I think the thing is if we're going to get one of these, we might put ourselves into some kind of debt, which I think will be worthwhile to do because we want to make sure that we get this. So we want to maximize our ability to get it when we do. So that'll be the plan next time. We'll get to the city. We will then roll up and see what we get. And then we will then, the next go, we'll attempt to get this investigation condition. Investigation. What am I talking about? They're not investigations. It's research encounter. My apologies. I'm playing too many of these different games. Okay, so that's our 2 actions. Okay, so that's the end of our turn. So we move into the encounter phase. Now we are here in the ocean. So we will take a general encounter and see what we get. C. The navigator describes his terrifying dreams. You try to interpret them. Or -1. Oh no. If you pass, you guide the ship to a lost treasure. If you fail, you begin to experience his nightmares and get a bang. Oh, okay. So law -1, that's literally 1. And I don't think there's any... No. Okay. So we've got to get a 5 or a 6 here. And we get... Oh, nearly. We get a 3. So we get a Bane condition. Bugger. All right. Where's the Banes? Boons, Banes. Let's shuffle them up. And let's take a Bane, which is some sort of cursed condition. Fantastic. Perfect. Only 6 is counter successes. Oh no, if you would gain another card, flip this card. If you would gain a blessed condition, discard this card. Holy water sounding good. Roll on a die. On a 4 or 5 or a 6, discard this card. So at least with the holy water, we can discard this, gain a blessed condition. Blessed condition would then discard this card. So that's one way of dealing with it. So there we go. Not a great start for old Joe Diamond, but anyway, that's the way that it goes in the Investigator game. So we move into the Mythos phase in turn 1. Let's see what we get. Let's flip this over. And we start with, oh god, it's got red tentacles on it. So we move this around to here, and I think indeed there's already one of those. That's Buenos Aires, yes. So that means that the doom goes down by 1. That's the first thing. Second thing is we have the reckonings. At the moment, there's no reckoning there. So I think the only reckoning on the whole board is the curse condition. So roll 1 die. On a 4, 5 or a 6, discard this card. And we get a 4. On a 4, 5 or 6, discard this card. Well, that was good. We didn't stay cursed for very long. Fantastic. Okay, actually worked in our favour. Then, of course, we draw another gate. Next gate is in the Himalayas. There's a lot of action happening now in the Himalayas with a fire vampire. Don't think we've had a fire vampire before. It's got physical resistance. On a reckoning, move this monster 2 spaces towards the nearest investigator. Then each investigator on this space loses 1 health. There we go. So the fire vampire will be coming for us. So the Himalayas is lots of action in the Himalayas. Can close a gate and go on an expedition. So it might be worthwhile visiting there. We won't be that far. It's just the problem is the fire vampire. So anyway, that's all that. Let's read it now. So they drink only enough to leave you and the rest of their victims weak and disoriented. No matter how much you begged for help, the police never took any action. Event. Each investigator impairs their law unless he or she spends 1 health or 1 sanity. Repeat this process for each other's skill. Oh man, that is awful. Okay, well we will take a hit with the law. I think this is a minus. No, where is the minus ones? Is there minus ones here? Doesn't seem to be. So I'm going to just put these upside down. Doesn't seem to be minuses unless there's minuses somewhere else. So all these ones, so that's that one. Influence, I really don't want to lose my influence. So I think we take I think it's -1 for each one, isn't it? Yeah, spends a health or a sanity. Oh, or a sanity. Okay, so let's just spend a health. Okay. Now, same with observation. Let's bring it down. Strength. Let's bring that down. And will. All right, we'll bring our. I'll make it really hard to fight. Okay, let's bring it down. Oh boy, that was hard. Okay, there we go. That was the that was the first mythos. That's how things are starting. Feeling very queasy on this voyage. Clearly, not only is the fire vampire here, but we've also had some vampires on our ship, and we are feeling a bit worse for wear. Oh dear, poor old Joe. So there we go. That's the end of the first turn. Let's click over into turn 2. And before we move any further, let's just have a look at the board and see where things are. Doom Track's only gone down by 1, so that's not too bad. So we've got 2 gates out. One in Buenos Aires with a riot. The other in the Himalayas, where there's also an expedition and a fire vampire. And we are heading at the moment, we're steaming across the South Atlantic towards Cape Town, aiming to get into the Indian Ocean so that we can do some research and hopefully get this clue and get the first mystery. That's the idea anyway. So there we go. Okay, so we're in turn 2. We've got 2 actions. So the first action, we shall move to Cape Town. So we're now in a city. Now, I suppose I could go straight to here and do the research. So I've got a choice here. Do I attempt to get myself something else from the reserve, or do I try and get this research? I feel like I should try and get myself something from the reserve because I'm feeling a little bit on the peaky side. So let's bring these out. And let's shuffle these up. So this is 3 of them. Let's hope we get a good score. We get a 1. Okay, so with a 1, we could take a deck condition. Which would allow us an extra 2 to the success. So I think we do that. So we get the deck conditioned, which means we're a 3, which means we can either take the Silver Twilight Host, or we could get the Lucky Talisman. Or we could get the Specialist. I'm actually thinking the Silver Twilight condition might be the best. So when we do that, when you gain this card, immediately recover 3 health and 3 sanity. So let's get our 3 health back and 1 sanity. And you also gain a boon condition. So let's get a boon condition. And the boon condition is, I think it's blessed, which means we succeed on a 4, 5, or 6. Yes. Brilliant. Okay, that's really nice. That's really good. Let's put that in there and let's see what we get next. And it's the Curiosity Shop, which is 4. When you gain this card, immediately gain an artifact, which we might need because if we get the Shugay. So there we go. We've got ourselves a blessed condition. We are in debt though. So that is a slight problem, but at least we're in a position where we can, I think, go to and do the research as long as we keep the blessed condition. Particularly since with some things like law, we're literally down to 1, so not great. And that could be, anyway, we'll see how we go. All right, so that's the end of our 2 actions. So next time we'll steam over to number 18. We go for an encounter. We're in a city encounter. So we'll see what that is. And the city encounter is a friendly game of cards ends with a very high stakes hand. Influence. If you pass, you amaze everyone watching and find a new friend. Gain a random ally asset from the deck. Oh, nice. If you fail, gain a deck condition. Can you have 2 deck conditions? I guess you can. Okay. Anyway, we'll probably pass because we've got to get only a 4, 5, or 6. So we would have to do really, really badly here if we don't get this. So it's influence. We have an influence of 3. So let's shuffle these up. We just need a 4, 5, or a 6. Oh, 4, 5, and 6. We just absolutely nail it. We certainly know how to gamble. Gain a random ally asset from the deck. That is fantastic. So let's just pull these until we get an ally. That's an item. That's a whip. That's a service. What's that? Oops. It's a trinket. Come on, give us an ally. It's a service. It's an item. Where's it? Oops, I think that was... It's an item. It's an ally. Here we go. Right, so what did we get? We got the research student. And the research student, roll 1 die. On a 5 or a 6, gain a clue. On a 1, discard the nearest clue on the game board. That's quite nice. We can't use it for this, though, because we need to get the clue through a research encounter. Yeah, but still, not bad. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, let's put these back in. Let's shuffle that up. Pretty happy with that. So we got ourselves an ally now. So that certainly went better than the last encounter. Okay. All right. Well, that's all going to become horribly undone now because it's now time for the mythos phase. And what do we get? We get green. So first of all, we move this around to red. There we go. There is a monster, what's it called? A monster surge. Now, there is there is a gate that matches the current omen. That's the Himalayas. So we'll bring out another monster, which is a hunting Byakhee. Oh boy, where's he start? When this monster is spawned, move it to the nearest investigator. Then the investigator on this space becomes delayed. Oh, okay. So it's on our... Okay. It's with us. And then we get a clue. Which is 13, unlucky for some. Is that there? Yeah, it's right up there. It's miles away from us. Just check that's 13. Yeah, that's 13, all right. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. When an ancient-looking man hands you... Oh, it's another red tentacle one. Great. An ancient-looking man hands you a heavy object wrapped in worn strips of fabric. Removing the wraps, you discover a black sculpture of the pharaoh Neferkar. Each investigator must resolve one of the following effects. Lose 3 health and 3 sanity. Impair 3 skills of your choice. No! Gain a Bane condition. I don't want to gain a Bane condition because... So 3 health and 3 sanity. So good job we 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow. We really are getting knocked about with these, aren't we? Anyway. Okay. Oh, boy. I hope this is not going to be too nasty. Ooh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's the end of the encounter phase. So we move into... See, the thing is, do I gain a Bane condition? The problem is if I get a Bane condition, I could... it's really hard to know because I might get another curse. And if I do that, then... curse condition, I'll discard that card, which I don't want to do. Or I could lose my research student. I don't want to do that either. So that really don't want to do that. I don't want to impair my skills. 3 skills of like I don't want to do that either. So this feels like the best worst option of all. All right. And yeah. Okay, so there we go. That's the end of turn 2. So we're into turn 3. If we just have a look at the board. So we are delayed. I should knock my piece over, but anyway, we know we're delayed at here in Cape Town. Not much has really changed apart from the hunting Biaki, who is now upon us. But things are fairly much the same. So it's now time to move into turn 3. We are delayed, so we don't get any actions. So we immediately move into the encounter phase. And of course, we have to deal with this hunting Biaki, which could really... So let's see how we go. We've got to get a 4, 5, or 6 here. We will see how we go, and we'll shuffle it up. And we get a 1, and so which means we fail. Yes. So we take 2 sanity damage, and we go insane. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was very short, sharp, and sweet. Unfortunately, Joe Diamond has failed before he's barely started in turn 3. That was really... we just got absolutely monstered by these... we got red tentacle ones right from the start, which made it very difficult for us. And even though we were on our way to doing something, it made it really, really hard. I have to say that Joe Diamond's actual special abilities are not great because they feel like they're more supportive. They don't really work so well in solo. But anyway, there we go. Poor old Joe. No mysteries. Never made it. He was on his way to getting the first mystery. So there we are, but that's the way it is in the Investigator games. So thank you very much for watching. Maybe I could have done something a little bit differently. I'm not sure. I thought moving to get this research piece as quickly as possible was the best idea, but maybe I should have waited till I was a bit more robust. But I wasn't expecting. Neither was I expecting to get the get the hunting Biaki either. So it all kind of conspired against me. So here we go. Next time on the Investigator games, we will be playing with, let's have a look. We'll be playing with Sister Mary, the Nun. But until then, I'm Krabby Terror 8. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. So we're 1 dice. We've got a 4, 5 or 6 though. Let's see how we go. That means we fail. And that, fuck.